Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Grif.
Baka.
So how's it going?
It's going. You got to make it interesting every single time.
Interesting. Well, I got that covered. I've had 2 cups of coffee and a piece of cake, so
She's wired up.
I'm
Everybody
ready
run.
to do this. I've had sugar and caffeine.
Everybody run.
Don't run
Oh,
from
too
me.
funny.
I want to smother you
funny.
with my love. Stop running.
With
Games
my
everybody been
love.
playing this week?
Mine's easy.
Mine's easy.
Everybody's easy. All right, then somebody go.
All right, I've been playing
Done.
WoW all week.
Okay.
Again.
Wow, that's crazy.
Oh, I finally have enough to buy my mount.
I don't.
Finally. And a
Not
little
even
extra.
close.
Well.
I'm like halfway there almost.
Like a
I've been
quarter of
saving
the
up
way.
every penny or every
What
copy
mount
that I
are
get.
you saving for?
Our first mount. At
Yeah.
level 40, you unlock the ability to buy a mount, which increases your base movement speed by 60%, which is pretty big. It's 72 gold for the mount and 18 gold for the training. So you
100
need 90
or
gold.
90, sorry, I don't know how math works.
90 gold to be able to do that. And once you hit 40, it makes traveling the world a whole lot easier. But until then, you have to walk everywhere.
So is there a specific mount you have in mind?
Well,
Oh,
it's going to be slightly dependent on your race because he and I are playing humans, so we will only have access to ponies at this point. Baka is playing a night elf, so he has access to cats instead of ponies. So we will be getting a pony of 4. There's 4 color options. There's the black stallion, which a lot of people are riding. There's a chestnut mare, a brown horse, and a pinto. Those are your 4 choices for us.
Yeah.
Do they look different other than the color, or is it?
No, color's the
No,
only
no.
Yeah,
difference.
color's the only difference.
And then at 60, your epic mount is an armored animal of your race.
But that thing is 900 gold. And
It's a little
100
more
gold
expensive.
and 80 gold for training.
Yeah.
It'll take you a while to get there anyway. Come on.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, you know.
Yeah, slowly.
I mean, you haven't got to 40 yet, so.
Well, we're close.
Almost
though.
there.
We'll be
About 5 bars from 4 or 39.
Yeah, we'll hit 39
so
tonight.
comparatively, for those of the layman people like me that don't play the game, comparatively, how long does it normally take to get to 40 compared to what you're doing now?
Okay, are you talking
because modern version of the game?
Oh,
versus
modern version of the game, you
classic
can get 40 in like a 2 or 3 days if you're playing casually.
And that's like about 24 hours in game time.
Yeah, it's so easy to level in retail versus classic. In retail,
So what's your estimated game time now to get to where you're at?
144 hours.
is how long we've played?
Because the last time I checked, I was at like 5 hours or 5 days and 15 hours. So I've definitely got to be close to 6 days, and I just did the math. It's 144 hours to get to level 40, approximately, and that's us taking it very casually and slow.
Yeah.
And enjoying the ride along. So.
Wow.
And then it will probably take an equal amount of time to get from 40 to 60.
So
Yeah.
you all, since you're now playing classic, and you've got 150 hours basically into the game, does this feel? Because you've played it before, but my question is, do you miss the newer version of this, or would you prefer this and just continue on, like the grind and everything goes along with this?
I really don't mind this. I think the only thing that I miss about retail is variety of races and the mounts, because I had like 300 of them. So let's be real, I miss my ponies, but beyond that, this is fine. This is a more full experience, I guess, because you see more of the zones and you see more of the content instead of it being like, well, I'm gonna put on these heirlooms that I just bought because my main tune's got $1 billion because money is nothing, and I'm just gonna sit in one major city and dungeon queue until I'm 80, and then I might go experience a tiny fraction of the content, and then I'm just gonna be cap level and done. Like, it just feels like there's no incentive for you to go and do anything in retail, whereas that's all you have to do in classic is like get out in the world, go find some stuff, go look at some things. Chicken? I
That was my bad.
swear?
Come on, it's been months.
In case those that don't
That
know,
was my
we have a
bad.
no phone on policy during
Yep.
this.
Yep, that was my bad. My bad.
I want a taco too. It means taco. Anyway, so okay. Question built onto that. Do you find that there is? Do you think there's a way for them to, let's say you got the classic version of it now, that they would be able to create a version of the modern version of the game and still be able to do this where it's satisfying this way? Could they make that part of it?
They're redoing it. They evolved. Okay, so if some of the leaks are true, it's what they already plan on doing in the next expansion. They're going to squish the levels back to 1 to 60. They're going to make the zones more inviting, I guess. Like, there's going to be more reasons to get out in the world and do stuff in the world rather than just burn your way up to cap level and then do end game. Because everything before the cap level is just obsolete content.
Have they released how many people are playing classic right now versus retail?
I haven't seen any numbers.
The only thing that I have seen is that their revenue shot the fuck up after Classic's release. So
because you got a lot of
because all you have to do is you're just paying for their service, right? And then this comes along with it, right?
Yeah.
There's no actual
exactly.
purchase. So.
Yep.
You just throw up a sub count, try it for a month, see how you like it, and after a month's time, you'll know if you're in for the grind or if it's just not for you. So.
Yeah.
Which I like the idea of that. I think if you're going to do a games with service, that's a better way to do it than some of what we're seeing nowadays, I think.
I agree.
Yes. And from an MMO standpoint, you've got a classic game that a lot of people fell in love with. And I like watching Twitter and watching the people that I know used to love the game that have come back to the game and go, this is why I loved this game. It's the things on there. So if they can I think they can invite those people back into the retail version of the game and make it to where people want to play it.
I don't think it's going to work for retail. Retail's audience is very different from the classic audience, and we've seen it before where Cataclysm is a great example because that is where we stopped playing in our first stint because we'd done Burning Crusade into Wrath of the Lich King into Cataclysm. Well, Cataclysm, they started that expansion with dungeons that mattered, where it's like these are dungeons, but they're very raid. They put you in the raid mentality of these bosses have mechanics. There are things that you have to do, or else your group will fail this boss fight. And if you don't do it, and people cried about it. Oh my god, why would you make us do this? This is just supposed to be simple, nothing content, blah 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 blah. And then they were like, okay, I guess our core doesn't want any sort of challenge. So they took away the challenge so that basically you just walked up on the boss and you're like, I'm going to stand in all of your AoEs. It doesn't matter. You don't hurt me. I don't care. Because that's
You think it's going to create a battle between... You think it's going to create a battle between the classic WoWers and the retail people?
People that want to play classic are playing classic. They're not going to... They're probably not going to go
that's
back
the
to retail.
perks of it, is you don't have to pay anything extra. It's just $15 and it...
I just wondered if you're going to have those people, like you'll see memes or whatever about, okay, well, I'll give you an example, like with anime, are you a sub person or are you a dub person? That mentality of how do you do that? And it's like, do you turn around and go, oh, you play WoW. Oh, you play retail. Yeah. I got you.
I imagine
like I'm a
there's
classic.
definitely
that
people
probably.
like that, but for the most part, I've kind of seen it where it's like people are like, I don't understand how people like that, but whatever, they could do whatever they want. It's like very admissible. Where it's like, I think that's the right word.
Yeah, close enough.
Okay, whatever, close enough. That we're just kind of letting each other do our own thing. And some people are looking over the fence and be like, how the hell do you enjoy that? It's so fucking boring. And then other people are going over the other side and be like, how do you enjoy that? It's so fucking boring.
Well, that's how I feel about retail, is because I know people, like Foxy is my best friend, and she has played retail religiously for a very long time, and I don't see how she can log on every day and run dailies and do the same raid content and clear the same mythic dungeons just over and over and over. But there is a draw to that. And just because I don't get the enjoyment out of it that she does doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with it or that they should get rid of it. It's just something that she likes and I don't, and that's fine. We can agree that that's cool.
But I think that's the best part about gaming too. It's like the same people, like there are certain people that if they start a game, even if it's a campaign style game, like that's story driven, they'll always start the game on the hardest level, and you got some people that don't want to do that. They want to enjoy the game on the easiest level so they can enjoy the plot line and everything goes on, because they. And I think that's what I'm looking at here. Like from the outside in, that's what I'm looking at, because there's that certain amount of those of you that loved Classic to start with, that part of the grind was part of the fun. Yeah. And like you said, you can explore the world and all that. And there's other people that are more casual gamers that enjoy the newer version of that, because they can go in and don't feel like they're being bogged down with all the grind and everything that goes along with it. So it's kind of interesting to see from the
that they don't need it anymore. Like one of the draws, I guess, to leveling alts and retail now is that you don't have to go do anything. Like there, and even if you were leveling, there are whole zones that you can just skip because you don't need them because of how fast you'll level. You know, just doing dungeons and things like that. And dungeons are so easy because you don't have to go to them. You can sit in a major city, queue up for a dungeon, and as soon as your queue pops, it'll put you in that dungeon. You don't have to go anywhere. There's no going out and seeing anything. And I think that's one of the problems with retail, is that you can do literally all of your business from a major city. You can go to an auction house and buy whatever you need for your professions if you want to have professions, although those are not important as much anymore. Oh, man. You can do all of your leveling through the dungeon system once you leave your start zone. So you go to a major city, you just sit there and queue. You can buy everything you need right there. You can have people come, crafted items made for you, and then people will bring it to you. And it's just, there's no need to go anywhere. And so I feel like you're missing out on a lot of the previous content, or maybe content that you never even saw. Like maybe your first alt that you rolled for like the Night Elves was after, Lich King or Cataclysm or whenever. So you just skipped most of the Night Elf stuff and you've never seen it before. The world doesn't matter as much at that point. It feels like there's no immersion, I guess. This is the game that I will play. I will play it from my bubble, and I will never see anything outside of that bubble, so it doesn't exist to me.
Well, that's what some people want. It's,
I know.
Again, a social versus solo. Yeah, it's Classic is much more social than retail. Solo, you could do everything in the game by yourself. They have looking for raids where you just queue up by yourself. You get tossed into a raid. You can see all the content that everybody else can see. It's easier for you. Same thing with dungeons, mythics, professions.
Well, even leveling, like you don't even run into that when you're leveling. Like we've run into several times where it's like, this is an elite quest. I will need a group to do this. And then you're in chat looking for group for quest. You don't have that in retail. One, almost
no, but
nobody's
you have a
out
button
there
that you can do
leveling
that with that
yeah,
too.
And two, there's a button. It'll put you in the group. You don't have to say one word to these people. As soon as the objective's over, you leave the group and go about your solo way. Like there's no need to interact with the people or the world. It feels more like a business transaction in retail than it does an actual game that you're enjoying
experience.
Playing.
So basically what you're saying is, in their attempt to streamline the game and make it more appealing to a larger audience, they actually took some of the charm away from the game.
Yes, they streamlined it too far.
You remember that discussion that we had, how Fortnite was trying to cater to the casuals and eventually it started sinking down? It's exactly what happened with retail. They started trying to broaden it to make it so that it's more accessible for everybody to play, which has driven away some of the more people that were hardcore players and whatnot. And Classic kind of gives them that, where you can build a community, build social aspects, and actually play an MMO RPG. Because everything feels different. Like, I play a warrior, I feel like I'm playing a warrior. I don't feel like I'm just another rogue or a paladin or anything like that, because they homogenized everything so much.
That was a big problem. Like in retail, everybody can do everything just about. You have so many ways, even as a warrior, you have so many ways that you can save yourself that you don't really need a healer most of the time. Or as a healer, you can do so much damage on your own that you don't need DPS, and things like that. Like everything is so interchangeable that it feels like there's no identity to the character that you rolled. Your character, who may be a priest, can be just as well off as that paladin over there or that druid over there. Like, there's nothing that identifies why your priest is special for any reason.
No strengths or weaknesses between classes. Yeah. No special benefits between classes or anything like that.
Except for warlocks.
Well,
what do they got? Fear?
Fears and terror effects, so it doesn't do the diminishing return.
The only thing they have, but DR is so fucking ridiculous in retail.
DR.
Yeah, sorry, it's so ridiculous in retail. Like nothing lasts for very long. Your fear that you're so worried about is only going to be like 4 seconds.
Well, and you've
then
already
2,
got
and then
like
you'll be
3 or
just
4
immune.
different trinkets that can get you out of it and things like that. It's
Exactly.
retail streamlined it too much. It's like, well, we want to make sure that everything has a counterbalance, and you've counterbalanced everything to the point that nothing is interesting and it's all kind of flat. It's everybody does everything. But with classic, I mean, that's the thing is with classic you're going to need a priest, and you're going to need, even sometimes it's more nuanced than that. It's like you're going to need a priest. But for this specific raid, you want a dwarf priest because they have fear ward. Because each race had a specific trait that they got to have, and that's the thing that dwarves got. One of the things dwarves got is your dwarf priest gets fear ward. Well, I'm a human priest because I can't play short classes. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm sorry. But I don't have that. So I will, in some instances, be less viable to a raid group that's forming because I don't have access to that. And there's a priest over there that's dwarf that does. They're not like, oh, you can heal, get in here. You're a paladin, sure, come on. Like, it matters more what you are. Everything
So
matters.
now 150 hours in, is there anything you all wish you had started when you started off that you, like, that maybe you shouldn't have done or maybe you wish you would have done now that you're 150 hours in? Is there anything
I bet they all wish that they would have saved more money.
I didn't really spend that much money. I mean, I've even, like, the thing with Classic is that you have to buy individual spells and then up the individual upgrades per spells. I haven't spent money at my trainers since, let's see, we're 38 now. 34 is the last time I bought a new skill. Because I'm trying to save money for my mount.
No, 30 was the last time I bought any.
I'm trying really
you're 38
hard to
as
save
well.
money.
Yeah.
So,
Everyone's 38.
I'm trying so hard. Like, once I get this first mount, the epic mount later on will be its own problem that I will deal with. But once I get 40 and I get my mount, I can finally start buying my skills again. Like, I've just basically forgone all of my shit that I need to buy just so that I can have enough to get them out because it's so important.
I think that's an interesting thing that WoW managed to do early on that you don't worry about much afterwards is you have these things that are available to you. It's like, oh, well, I could spend all of my money on buying my profession upgrades or my class skill upgrades, but then I need money for this, and then I have to have this thing that I would like to spend money on. And it's prioritizing, like, it's one of those things that it's almost like this game teaches you how to be responsible with money. What is most important to you in your life here? How do you save that money? Like, it's like a real life skill builder. I swear after the struggle to get your mount at 40, like, I guarantee that taught some people how to prioritize money, and I am possibly one of those, because when I played Classic the first time, like, original vanilla, I was like, I want this horse so bad. I need it so bad. It's so expensive. How do I get the money? And I was playing by myself. So I was, like, struggling to figure out how to, like, manage money for everything. And I was at a point where, like, as a person, I was not worried about managing money. But that game made me go, okay, what if I wanted to buy the equivalent of a horse in real life? I am just as poor in real life as my character is. How do I rearrange this? So,
That's awesome.
I think it's neat.
Yep,
But yes, that's what we've been doing. And Red Dead. I played Red Dead this morning, and let me tell you, sometimes I get lost in how magical that game can be. We'll talk about Red Dead ties into something else later, so don't worry about that for now. And I know, like, you've been playing Minecraft.
A lot.
I don't.
I've got Minecraft, but I also played Greedfall. I played some Greedfall some more Greedfall this past week. I enjoyed it a lot, and this goes back to kind of what you're talking about with the casual gamer versus the grinding gamer. This game, to get money, easy to get the gold. Everything is on. They give you everything you need, and one of the things I do like though, like to get more skills. They've set up these random towers that are just they look like shrines basically, and you can show up to those, and if you find that shrine, then you end up getting a skill, and you can be able to use it that way. But it's great because it allows my character to get a skill quicker. But the problem is the rest of, because they have basically 3 trees. One's skills, another one's abilities, another one's something else. I can't remember what it was, but. So your skills you'll have like 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 different things already unlocked on the skill one, but on the with the other two, you might have had two that you've unlocked because you can get one and you couldn't get the other. It's just weird the way it is. But the world is beautiful. I'm enjoying the gameplay on it. I'm enjoying the characters and stuff on there. The conversations that you're having are great. I like the option because two of your companions that you have, or three of the companions right now, if you talk to them, they'll try to send you on a quest too, and you get the option. It's not a timed thing. If I want to go on that quest right now, I can. If I don't want to, then I can hold off of it, finish what I'm doing.
Like, is it a real time thing where it's like you can go and save
they're not
or
timed.
you can go and do this? Okay, good, because
no, there's no time. There's no time on it. That's what I'm saying.
Me.
No, I'm saying there's no timed part
but
of
you
it.
said you specifically mentioned it with your companion, so I was like, is that how the rest of the world quests are?
No.
That's a lot of pressure.
It's probably because
Mass Effect some games you have to kind of do something in a certain order in order to be able to do it. This one you don't.
Okay.
I was like, oh no, you've got 2 hours to save the burning orphanage and go rescue all of the puppies. What am I gonna do?
Right. What am I supposed to do? Children or puppies?
Obviously, I'm gonna pick the puppies, but that's me. So. Because I don't have to make that choice.
Right. So then also, I finally got to play some Sea of Thieves this week after the expansion came out.
Did you get your?
I got my pets. You
got multiple ones?
Yeah, I got 3.
But you can't have them all at the same time, right? Or do you just have?
No. You don't have one at a time, but it's an easy swap. It swaps just like your clothes do. They've added a chest now on the ship. It took me a minute to find it because it's not with the other chest.
Pets in a chest.
They put right. So you go over and you pick it, and then it's cool because you can pick it up. And you can place it on certain parts of the ship. Like one is like on top of the bell. Like the bell has that little thing that comes off of it, and then the bell hangs down. You can set it on top of it. If you set it in front of the helm, like on the how it's got that wooden part that goes around the outside of the helm. You set it on top of it, it falls asleep. You put it in the bed, it falls asleep. Like it's like different stuff like that. It's really cool. And they have when they sleep, they have like the little jitters. Like when. Like when animals are released. Yeah. My favorite part though, because I'm strategically I'm going to figure out how to make this work. But my favorite part is you can shoot them out the cannons.
No, why?
They appear right back on your deck. So you shoot them out, you can watch them fly all the way, and then they just. Well, but here's the thing. I think strategy wise, instead of wasting a cannonball, you can shoot the animal at whatever you're targeting. And then the animal, if it makes it, then awesome. Now you know that you've got the right aim for your cannonball to be able to destroy somebody else or not.
I would assume yes, if you're both sitting perfectly still, like you could do a test shot. But I mean, if you're both moving and you land one shot, that's just a shot you could have landed as a cannonball. Yeah. Or you're just good and you never miss.
Yeah, well, none of us
I've watched you play. Don't even try that.
I'd have to say I'm at least a 60%. 60%.
I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that.
60%.
I would definitely agree with that.
I would say I'm a 20% accuracy with cannons.
I ended up with one of each one of the monkeys, and there's different in the menu. Just so you know, when you go to buy, there is a thing for just the pets. Okay. So make sure you move over to the pet section, and then you get to pick different colors based on the pets. And the parakeets. And they'll be separate from the packages you can buy. So the pets can be bought separately from the packages. Okay. And then the parakeets has a really nice purple one that I really want because it's purple. So I'll be eventually getting that. But I ended up with one of the monkeys. But I can't remember which one's which. But one of the monkeys, I named him George.
Course.
And they got the other style of monkey, and I named him Timmy. And then, don't ask, it was just random. I thought Timmy sounded good, and he looked like a Timmy to me. Okay. And then I got a Crimson Macaw, and his name is Nicky after Nick Saban because he's crimson.
Oh my God! Get out.
And so, but it's cool though because they do react differently. They go nuts when stuff like when cannons go off or gunfire or anything. They all go crazy. Yeah, but it's great because it's like you can hear them. And one of them was one of them was like making a noise randomly, and they both, and then a couple of them started doing it because we all had pets on. There was 3 of us on the ship, and all 3 of us had pets going, and all 3 of them started doing it. And I'm like, does this mean something? Like, is it like a metal detector? Like, if I'm going over certain. It's like, but I'm like, because we were near an island, I was thinking, well, maybe it's like a metal detector. If you get near something that's buried, or not buried, but sunken underwater, you could just dive down and look in that area and see if there's something there. But there wasn't anything there, so I'm not really sure. It might have just been random as hell. But they are fun to play with. And then we got a bunch of Reaper's chests and turned those in, and was running an Athena and that type of stuff. It was fun because there's so much loot now in the game. Like, randomly floating in the water, you'll find loot.
I have money! Yay!
Yay, money! So that's pretty neat. I went ahead and got the, because I'm stupid. Actually, I just had a bunch of Microsoft points, so when I used them, I got the not legendary sales, but the sales for Banjo-Kazooie. Yeah. The one that has the, there's 2 different ones. There's one that you can get that's regular, and then you get the ones that's like a higher end one.
Right.
And then you could also get like a gold version of the Banjo-Kazooie headpiece, but I didn't get that because I didn't like the gold one. I like the traditional regular one on that, but that was pretty cool. And of course, like she said, I've been playing Minecraft, a lot of Minecraft. I'll get done streaming and literally get on and start playing Minecraft.
Yeah, I saw you playing it this morning.
Yeah, I was playing it this morning, trying to rearrange all my stuff. I got put into the Netherworld the other day. Like, one of the people, actually 2 of the people that are part of my realm, are very familiar with the game, and they created this ridiculous track all the way from one of their houses to the other that's like massive sides of the map. And so they'd worked 5 hours creating this, because I got it out of them how long they'd been doing that. And then the next 2 hours they spent in the Netherworld after they created a game for it. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. So they took me to the Netherworld, and I had fun because I got to areas they hadn't been yet. And they were like, how'd you get there? And I was like, here's my coordinates. Come find me.
And you know how when I build things, I get a little particular about where everything goes, and when Red builds stuff in games, he's particular too. Oak is like more particular than us, if that's even possible. Like, he was showing me something in this like cavern, and he's like, oh, I don't like where that light is at. And I was like, but it makes it. He's like, no, I don't like, I'll come back and fix it later. I'm like, okay then. You do you, man.
I ended up going to the Netherworld and getting they've got these big glow rocks, and so I ended up knocking the glow rocks, and I put those as my lights because it makes the wall flat and there won't be holes in the wall in order to be able to...
See, I told you. You think I'm bad about it? No. Try to play these kinds of games with him. Like, him and Red, like, I would love to put them together and just see how long it takes them both to manage to build, like, a 4x4 house. Like, this is a small area. Oh, my God. Why is it 16 hours later? What are you doing?
It'll be, like, 3 weeks later, and they've only put down 1 square because it's taken them that long just to agree where to put that 1 block.
Where to start the house. It's like, it's right here. Do you see the trees? Do you see the sun? That cave over there? This is just far enough. There's water here. Okay, we need 6 blocks away from... No, 6 blocks away from the water.
That's
or
exactly
else.
Exactly what it would be.
My problem I have right now is the fact that I've got these chests that are setting up there, and... you're going through and you're mining, so you're picking up all this rock as you go, and I don't want to get rid of the cobblestone that I have. And so I'm like, all right, so I need to put it in this chest. And so if I put it in this chest, then I'll just fill this up with, the cobblestone, any other type of stone building material like that. Well, but there's also to where somebody can heat the stuff up and it creates a different kind of stone. And I'm like, does that need to be in a different container? Like, my brain, it can't function. I can't figure this. That's a different, no. Okay. But these are cobblestone steps. So technically they're made out of cobblestone, but technically they're building material that's totally different. So therefore I should put them in a different one. So now I've got chests everywhere just loaded up with stuff. And people, it was funny because I had friends that I had played Atlas with. And they're like, oh, shit, here we go.
Here we go again.
He was, yes. That's see, it's the same thing. Red did that in Ark too. He would go to one of the chest things and open it up, and be like, "Who put this in here? This is not where this goes." It's like, who put this thatch in here? And it's like, well, it's a building material, and there's stone and wood. He's like, this is for stone and wood. Thatch goes over here. It's like, but it's
Yeah, I had to go through and label all the stuff in Atlas, and then we had one dump box, which was you get done because like with both Ark and Atlas, because well, it's the same fucking game. With Ark and Atlas, when you go to sleep, you don't really want everything on you because you never know what's going to happen to your body. So I just had a dump box. So I created rooms for everybody in Atlas, and everybody had a dump box that they could put all their stuff into and sleep in the bed there.
That's what we did in Ark too.
Like, too many times of waking up and our bodies were stuck in the floors
or you died in the floor, so all of your stuff that was on you is gone. You're like, well, because it's been more than the half hour or whatever you get to go pick it up.
Right.
Wasn't even on. Why is my body still here?
But I'm enjoying, I'm really enjoying the game just because of the fact that it is that particular and it's driving me insane.
Well, to tie it into the news, I thought character creation was a thing that they already had, but apparently that's a thing that they're doing. So how did you make your characters look different before?
It was just a default, and then you could buy. You could get. They got like packages that you can buy that are mods and stuff. And so when I got you can play on Game Pass. You can play the Windows 10 version of the game.
Okay.
So, me personally, I bought the game because I wanted those. I wanted the pack that had the realistic looking graphics versus the garbage that the game normally looks like to me.
Realistic. Let's be real here. It's not like.
Comparatively, I don't want the potato graphics. I would want one that's less potato, okay? More baked,
They're all potatoes?
they're all squares. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, you ain't gonna get
it does.
much better
Trust me,
square.
it matters. It drives me insane not to have that thing on. Because I've downloaded the phone version of it so I can check into the realm if I needed to. Oh, can't handle it. I can't handle it at all. I've got to have that on. But basically, to answer your question on that, you have those skins and stuff that you can get just same way that you have the skin that you normally do. And so now they're adding an actual character creator into it. I haven't played with it because I don't have a need for it right now because I'm fine with my little woman character that runs around. Because you don't ever see yourself. It doesn't make sense to me.
How does it feel though to know that one, character creation in a game like this that's kind of an open world, go do your thing, it should be a base feature to start with, but you've bought packages to have these special looking characters, so you've spent money on to look different, but now they're going to give you that as part of the game. Does that feel weird?
They're not giving you a big variety, to be fair. They're giving you options that are there, but it's not like... my friend Maida, she's got one that looks like Cheech and one that looks like Chong. So she'll switch back and forth between the two. So, but those were skins that she has. It's not ones that she's created. And so it's just to personalize your character a little bit. But again, I'm fine with, because basically you have default 3 versions on there. Or 2 versions on there. One's female character and one's male character. And I literally didn't even check. I just went straight to the female character. I was fine with that. Didn't matter. I mean, you could change it at any time. I tried to change it the other day and I was just like, I'm fine with this. I don't ever see this character. And if you put armor on them, they all look the same.
I guess that's true.
I mean, it really doesn't matter. It just kind of, and all of us can see each other's names.
Yeah.
Because they've got the little, it's got everybody's name above the top of them, so it really doesn't bother me.
Anytime I'd ever seen videos of people playing Minecraft and whatnot, all of the characters look different. So I was just like, oh, okay, so there's a character creator and they can make a bunch of crazy stuff.
Well, it's like Daily Kong that works for Platonics. That I follow her on Twitter, and she made herself a vending machine today. So she's a walking vending machine.
Okay.
I don't know if that's part of the character creation or if that's a skin. But she said if you're going to give me the option to be being a walking vending machine, then I'm going to be a walking vending machine.
That's an interesting choice to make, but...
Okay. It's got to be funny, though, when you're walking around outside and you just see a vending machine walking at you.
Things walking at me. Vending machines kill 6% people every year, so no thanks.
The
Yeah.
robots are rising.
Clearly.
Clearly. But yeah, I enjoy the game. I think that this just going to add it to a bunch of other, people that want to play the game or people that have been waiting for it for so long. It is weird that it's taken this long.
Yeah. I mean, we're like
It's
several
also-
years down.
And then it's the beta version too. So it's not like it's actually
not even
in
the
the
thing
full.
they've been working on forever. It's like, we just made this last week. Try it out. I'm kidding. I
so-
don't think it would probably take a little longer than last week, but just saying.
It still surprises me that 10 years later they're making new content for the game in this way.
Well, to be fair, it's...
WoW is 15 years old.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna
Yeah,
say
but-
Rust is still in early
I mean,
development or early access, isn't it?
Diablo, they released a patch for Diablo 2 in like 2016 when they had an 11-year stint where they didn't do anything with the game, and then here they go, they're like, here's a new patch, and everyone's like,
Why? Who's still working
the
on
fuck?
this?
Who the fuck made this? There's like
It's
one
one
guy
guy.
in a room.
No,
He
he's
made a
in
big
the
enough
basement.
paycheck that everybody
He's
at
in a basement.
Heroes of the Storm lost their job. That worked out good for them.
Oh, too soon.
Too soon?
Too soon. That game's not even cold yet.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's on life support.
Well, in other news stuffs, I mentioned playing Red Dead, which is going super well. Rockstar's making their own launcher too, which we've been back and forth on things that we like. One, we think it's acceptable for a company to make their own launcher, and when I first saw this, I was like, oh, another. But Chicken
that's what
brought
I
up
said
an
too.
interesting point that this might be beneficial specifically for Rockstar because of GTA Online and Red Dead Online, which Red Dead's not on PC yet, but yet.
But think of it as like BattleNet, basically. for
But this would
Rockstar.
allow them to better manage their anti-cheat software and better manage their accounts for cheaters that have been banned, temporarily or permanently or things like that. Like this might be a better way for them to consolidate their control over the online side of these games. I am not a big proponent of having 1,000,000,001 launchers, but for this one, I kind of get it. It makes more sense to me than a lot of the other ones, to be honest.
So I wonder, for those of us that have like some of these games already on Steam, if they'll give us an option to be able to transfer that information over to.
I kind of think that they would. Like, you'd be able to tie your account to it.
They'll probably do the same thing that they do with Ubisoft games. You open the game from Steam, it loads up the launcher, and then you play through that. It's basically just going to be a segue into
Yeah.
it.
I just
going
hope it
to be
runs
their
better
platform.
than. That is the worst example of a launcher that you could talk about, but I hope
Uplay?
so. Hopefully, it works out better.
I wish Ubisoft didn't have as good of games as they did, because personally, I really enjoy it, because they make some pretty damn good games.
Yeah.
But goddamn, their launcher just is not very smooth.
Intuitive.
It feels very rough and
Well, to
like
be fair,
rocky
like,
and-
the last time... Because I thought about this the last time I opened Far Cry 5, which was, like, a month or two ago. I clicked the button on my Steam, like, I clicked play, and it took a minute, because I knew it was opening the auxiliary launcher, so it took a minute to actually open the game, but it opened the game and the launcher at the same time, so the launcher was behind the game. I never even saw the launcher. I was like, oh, okay, this is not... It's not terrible, but I hate that it has to do this extra step because it makes it take longer to get to the game. So, which, with Ubisoft, there's not... I guess, because of Division and things like that, and like Rainbow Six, they have a need to be able to run their own anti-cheat stuff.
Yes, like
So,
Rainbow
I
Six
guess
and the Division and things like that.
When you
it's
think about it like
critically
that, that
important.
makes more sense. If you have to have a launcher for a specific game because you're playing the online component of it, I just kind of hate that you have to open it even if you're playing the offline single player component of it. I wish that there was an
Which is what
option.
made sense even when Epic did theirs originally. It was
Same
the
thing
fact
with
that they
BattleNet. You got to open up your games for single player games.
right.
Yeah, it's so weird. to me.
So I don't have really a problem with it. Then it's the moment they try to become a store outside of their own product is where
Yes.
I end up becoming an issue with it.
Yes,
I
like
didn't
mean,
mean to
it's-
tie this into the one of the other newses, but that was a great tie. Yeah, good job. Carry on, chicken. Sorry.
I was just gonna say it's the same principle as you have to turn on your Xbox to play the games. You have to turn
Right.
on your UPlay to play your games.
Yeah, but you
The
turn on the
same
Xbox
principle.
because that's what's running it. I've already turned on my PC.
You turn on your but you turn on your client so that you can play those games. It's a client, not a library.
It is.
It's
yes.
two different
and
things.
I agree that it definitely makes a distinction that's important that some companies, Epic, have kind of gotten rid of in favor of trying to be a storefront. So, I also wish some were way better about it. Bethesda, please get your shit together.
Yes.
I'm serious. Have you seen some of the complaints? Like, people have been complaining a lot recently about Bethesda's stuff because for some reason their launcher will get you stuck in a loop. You'll sign into a game, it'll tell you have to sign into your launcher or to your Bethesda account. You'll sign into your Bethesda account, it'll take you back to the game, but it'll tell you that you have to sign into your Bethesda account. So it just gets stuck in this loop of you haven't signed in.
That's the problem they're having right now with, or they were having this weekend with the Call of Duty beta.
Ooh,
because
that's a bad problem.
I would log in. I was logged into BattleNet. Why do I need to have an Activision account started? Once I get into the game, and then go to their website, create an account for a company I already own shit to, that I have to go back. I was like, I'll take my time. I'll play it tonight, Sunday night. I'll play it. I'm not worried about it on Friday. After dealing with that shit, it was awful, horrible trying to get that shit to go. So hopefully Call of Duty is fun, but at the same time, not worth the pain in the ass that they had to deal with on there. Like, if I'm logged into your own site, you should not make me sign in to a different account.
Like, how many hoops do I need to jump through to authenticate this copy? And even
lot.
then, like, with the Bethesda one, you get stuck in an authentication loop where it thinks that you haven't authenticated yet, so it sends you to another place to authenticate. You do it there, you come back here, there's some sort of disconnect between these two, you gotta do it again. Like, companies, if you're gonna make me do this, you better streamline it.
Mm-hmm.
Please, everybody.
Oh, wow.
get your
You're
shit
just going to
together.
keep trying to play the game. Surely you want to play the game that bad.
Like, that must be part of the gameplay. Part of the gameplay is attempting to solve the puzzle of how to get into the game to start with.
So like WoW and the queue times.
Yeah,
Oh,
except
they didn't make
for
you
the
they
log in on a
expect people to wait.
phone? Everybody's got phones. They
Don't
should
you
just
do
make
on
us log in
phones?
on a phone.
Well, I mean, technically, I guess you do need your phone because a lot of them have two-factor authentication now.
That is true.
So,
That is true. I made the mistake once of leaving my phone upstairs and having to go through the 2 steps.
You're
I had to
like,
run
"Oh."
upstairs, grab my phone, come back down, reset, and then do it again.
well,
It's like, no, stop it. Stop it.
speaking of...
That does...
yeah.
Oh, you go ahead then.
No, well,
You
I
had
was
it?
just going to say, it kind of ties into launchers and everything. This week, we finally got a little bit of information about how much Epic is willing to spend on securing exclusivity for games on their platform. They apparently bought the exclusivity for Control for 8.3 million euro, which I think Chicken said was like 9.1 million US.
Yep.
So
9.1 mil.
9 million just for Control's PC version to be an Epic Store exclusive. And if they were willing to spend that on Control, can you imagine how much they offered things like Gearbox for Borderlands? I mean, jeez. They are spending
Well, and that's the
so
thing.
much
To be
money.
fair, I actually think the Control one's low.
Yeah, I would
because
agree
Yo,
with that.
yeah. game was
it's definitely
anticipated.
low.
Yeah.
That was anticipated, and they at least did confirm what we kind of thought, which is the fact that the money that they're releasing out there is taken out of their
kickback.
first set of sales, the
Yeah.
kickback from sales. So, so we were correct on that one. It's very interesting too because this article is both in Italian and
Yeah, it's like, here's the Italian, and here's what Google Translate says it says in English.
Here's what
Yeah.
Google Translate says.
And I do find it interesting, when people are like, okay, well, yeah, we'll take their money in order to be able to have the guaranteed sales. And
But
I understand that from their particular standpoint. But
I kind of understand it, but this was pointed out in the comment section of this article, is if you feel the need to take that money because that means you're guaranteed to get those sales, then what does that say about your product and subsequent product releases? If your product couldn't stand alone without that, then what kind of quality are you working with? Because if it was good enough to make that money, that kind of money, then you would have made that money regardless because it would have stood out amongst its peers. So it's kind
Yeah,
of...
but that kind of confidence doesn't pay the bills.
Well, and I understand that, but I also understand that here's your cash infusion. Now go about your business because we've bought your exclusivity. The next game that comes out, is not as great, and they're not willing to pay for it because by then Epic's made their storefront. I mean, what do you do with that?
That they don't care. Like it, the future
I would
doesn't
care if I
pay
was a
today's
dev, I
bills.
guess.
Like,
Well,
I mean, that's
the other thought process of it too, the way I would look at it is, if I'm looking at it from a business standpoint, you give me nearly $10 million, which you're saying is, you know, guaranteeing for the amount of sales they're going to have, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a portion of that to make sure I'm promoting the shit out of my product, where I might not have had the money to do that before, because now I've got the money up front versus waiting on the sales in order to be able to increase the sales on the back end of it.
Yeah.
Where Epic's not going to do that for me, I have to do that as my own company. So therefore I can go ahead and get that money and be able to promote it out. And then, like Chicken said too, the bills that might go along with that. Now you guarantee your light's being paid for. You can go ahead and start working on your next game. The people that did Control, they were actually at PAX West. That booth cost them money. So, certain things like that. So maybe they wouldn't have had a presence at some of these cons in order to be able to promote their product had it not been for that money that was up front. Do I like that they do this? No. Do I understand why they do this? Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like, I
two
can
different things.
completely understand.
But I think you could have done the same thing by doing pre-sales on somewhere like Steam and gotten that money up front.
Yeah, I think that would have been another justifiable way, or pre-sales in general, because especially with a game like Control, because of the people that made it, people were going to buy that game anyway. I mean, it was made by the people that did Max Payne and Alan Wake. Max Payne, like the third one, is kind of but the Alan Wake series is pretty popular and successful, so, I mean, that's a company that's not necessarily worried about whether or not their game is going to sell. Like, they've got a core audience that's going to support them anyway, and then promote your game. It's a quality product, it's going to sell. But instead it was, let's take the quick cash up front, which is still understandable. I mean, that's a huge
Let's take
chunk
the
of cash.
guaranteed cash
Yeah.
up front and like basically secure our company for a couple more years.
I don't disagree with it. Like, I understand the mentality of it. I just think that it's like, how long is that viable for Epic? Because Fortnite's money's gonna run out, and that's what they're using to buy these things.
It's already on the downslope
Well, I
right
mean,
now.
that's what I'm saying, though, is like that money they have made is going to run out, and what happens when they can't afford to purchase exclusivity anymore? Or they can, but they're trying to purchase exclusivity with a company that they've already purchased with before, and you paid $9 million the last time you purchased my exclusivity, but this time for a bigger game you want to pay me like a fraction of that because you don't have the money. Like, how does that come across too? Like, how long is that viable?
Eventually leads into THQ Nordic buying their stuff
and getting rid of their launcher.
I also am pretty damn certain that this isn't going to be a forever exclusive. It'll eventually come to Steam, and then it'll make even more money.
Well, I mean, yeah, a lot of games are not going to be forever exclusives, but that's what I'm saying, though, is right now Epic's spending hand over fist on exclusivity buy-ins. What happens when that slows down? How does that change the dynamic between Epic and the developers that are trying to put their product over there? It's like, well, we heard you paid $9 million for this game. How much will you give us for ours, which is, a guaranteed franchise AAA? And they're like, we'll give you one because we're out of cash. Like, when does that start hurting Epic and making them look bad? Because it looks like you're trying to undercut, but it's just because they're running out of money.
You can't.
Well,
I will say this now: Epic cannot afford AAA exclusives, which I don't think they have.
They just did.
Borderlands 3
that
is
was
AAA.
but that was because they had a previous
Metro.
relationship with them. That's a AA game.
Yep.
I consider that a AA game. That's not a AAA. Like, you're not gonna buy Halo. You're not gonna buy Gears. You're not gonna buy
Well, you're not going to buy those
the
because
Ubisoft.
those are Microsoft,
Well, I guess they
and
did
Microsoft's
get.
going to want to put them on their storefront, but
Technically,
Well,
they
they're
didn't
also
even
putting
buy
them
the
on Steam
Ubisoft.
too, though. Both of those are on
technically
Steam.
they didn't buy the Ubisoft games either that were exclusive, because if you don't want to buy it there, you just go to the Ubisoft client, which you're going to have to do anyway. Even if you buy it on Epic, you got to open up the Ubisoft client. So
Yeah.
regardless, you buy it on the Ubisoft client. So, I mean, big games, I don't think they can afford. They're either going to make a deal that they'll get more percentage, because you can't offer Ubi $10 million. You're going to be like, why? We have plenty in the vault. We don't need that change. We'll just put it everywhere
we'll
and make
if
even
we
more
put it
money.
everywhere, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, because when Halo comes to Steam, it is going to blow the shit out of the PC gaming market. It's going to be like, well, Steam is back. Well, Steam is still on top, but Epic can't touch that kind of money. And
Well,
Microsoft
but
has made that
the other
very
thing
clear
is too. Look at it this way. Right now, you're looking at $10 million that they spent for Control. Right. Look at the other games that are currently on their storefront. Like you said, there's not a whole lot. You're looking at one AAA out of the entire thing.
Right.
Fortnite last year made $200 million per month on average.
Ugh, that's
So
sickening amounts
think
of money.
about that for a minute. Okay, so 1 month of last year's Fortnite buys them how many exclusivities based on that 10 million, right?
Well, it depends on how much of that 200 million that is actually going back into the company rather than into higher ups' pockets.
They made $2.4 billion last year. There's not that much money going back into the.
You would be surprised on how much they pay themselves.
Well, yeah, but they also cut corners in a lot of ways too, like outsourcing artwork and graphic design and things like that. And we know that those artists and those freelancers don't get paid bukus of money because we know one of them.
That's true too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's true too.
I mean, unless you are rich, Ollie, in which case,
Like if you're filthy stinking rich, he's got bags of money everywhere.
He just
Then
doesn't
move
like
to the
telling
U.S.
people.
We need you to move.
if Ollie's making that kind of money,
You just buy us all a house.
Yeah.
We're good to go.
Ollie's like, no, forget you guys. I'm buying Red a house with me. I get to be their best woman because I'm not a man.
That's
Can't be
true.
the best man, but I got dibs on that this week. Yes.
That's fine. I get to be Ollie's best man.
I thought you were the ring bearer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you were gonna wear a bear suit.
And
gonna be
Baka's
ring
the
bearer.
flower girl.
The conversations y'all have sometimes.
Look, man, we're making
Seriously.
plans for the future here, all right?
I got you. I understand. Oh,
Well, we now
Lord.
know.
You know who else is trying to make plans for the future?
Everybody.
Bioware. Bioware is trying to make
not-
plans
that's
for the
not
future.
Those aren't plans. Those are failed plans.
Hold on.
Those are
Hold
not
on.
plans.
They're having to make new plans because their old plans would not work out.
Because nothing about
they have
Anthem
this-
worked out.
Yeah, Anthem's original post-launch content that they gave us that whole roadmap. Yeah, they just scrapped it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
done.
think giving people roadmaps is the worst idea ever. Roadmaps are something that, one, should be internal for your company, and two, realistic enough to adhere to.
First of all, I will throw Risk of Rain 2 in there. They released a roadmap when they first released it in early access, and they have stuck to it to a T, and they are improving that game so much on good pace. It is unbelievable. Like, their huge update they just did for their fall update is crazy big, and it's everything that they said in there.
But that
and
goes into
more.
one of the points I just made. It should be realistic.
Yes,
You
realistic.
know who else made a roadmap for everybody? Sea of Thieves. Right
Yeah,
off the
they really
bat, they
didn't
gave
stick
us,
to theirs, though. Because they
Yeah,
were like,
Sea of
hey,
Thieves
in 3
roadmaps-
months.
They only gave us the first season.
Kind of.
Other than the pits.
But I don't
They
think that
pushed-
they've done anything where it's like, we're just going to throw this roadmap away, though, or like,
No.
Bioware.
They released a roadmap, and then they've kind of been like, well, shit, we need to take this and move it up here and this back here and this over here. Like, they've really swapped it around to kind of do what the audience has asked them for.
But I
the
guess
quickest.
that's a good way to deal with having a roadmap, though, is if you have
Yes.
released one to the public, if you have to, make some changes, at least you're going equal change. You asked
Yeah,
for
be like,
this,
you guys
we'll
asked
wait
for this, so we're going to move this up, and we're going to have to push
here's the
patch
thing:
back
is once a
this.
week we know we're going to get an
Yeah.
update. Them telling us what's going to happen too.
Communication is
key, being
always
transparent
super
is
fucking
key.
critical for teams like this, too.
And see, BioWare said they were going to be transparent and that they were going to be present and ready, to deal with things as they went with launch for Anthem, and then they weren't. And now, instead of getting acts as regular updates, we're getting seasonal updates, which I'm putting in quotes, because I imagine we'll get maybe one update before they completely stop bothering with the game altogether. Especially with Dragon Age 4 on the horizon. All
Which is
attention's
going to
gonna
fail
turn to
just
that.
as much.
Most
I'm
likely,
calling it now.
I mean, unless BioWare really pulled themselves back internally and said, all right, look, the last 2 things we've done have been real shit shows. Dragon Age has to save us again, because Inquisition
Hashtag
almost
no
failed.
faith.
But yeah, I'm not putting forth a lot of
two
expectations on this.
2 failures in a row. The third one is probably going to be bad too, especially with EA's hand in there going like, you need to make up a lot of this money that you've lost, so you better fill that thing with money making
If EA
stuff.
was smart, they would pull back from that too, and like,
when have
be
they
like,
ever
"Alright."
been smart?
Well,
No,
that's
EA
the thing.
is just like,
I'm
make us
saying
money.
They should be.
They've made
they're
a ton
not
of
going
money.
to. They're gonna keep making. They're gonna keep pushing to make money, and that's it. Like, I have no faith.
I don't either.
Mass Effect failed. Anthem failed. Dragon Age is going to be the third and final nail in the coffin, and we will say goodbye.
And then THQ will buy all the properties in 5 years.
Yeah, and then we will get a Dragon Age closer to the original one, because that's what people want. They want really heavy,
that's what
good
Greedfall
RPGs.
looks like. It's very similar
Exactly.
to Dragon Age Origins,
I
which
wonder
I
who
have
made
also
Greedfall.
been
I wonder if
recently
they own.
replaying.
I wonder if they're
Spiders.
owned by.
Spiders made it.
Yeah, it's the name of their
Spiders.
studio, which is just a terrifying name for a studio.
Spiders.
But I
Their
Back
just,
intro's
full of
great
dopes.
too. You'll love it.
so yes.
Hair with spiders.
Focus Entertainment.
Seasonal
That's-
updates is what we're looking at for this game. Get rid of the roadmap.
Okay, so
What?
no, so it's just basically going to be a couple of updates every little bit, and then it's just the same update every couple of months with new rewards, and then the game is going to die,
Yes.
or they're going to let it die.
Well, and I mean, Cataclysm is the event that just happened, or that is happening. Maybe it's still going. And that was supposed to be the end of Act 1, and then Act 2 will start. But I think that they really don't have any resources to put towards Act 2, which is why they scrapped that part of the roadmap. Is because they can't do anything big with it anymore. They can't afford to. They didn't do enough to start with, and they can't salvage it at this point. So, I imagine any further updates will be like, here's some new skins. Yay. We put a new dance in the game that we borrowed from Fortnite. Yay.
Speaking of which, there's new dances in Sea of Thieves. Like, there's a new dance for it. There's new emotes. It's very
I
weird.
guess you have to buy them.
Like
I
some-
guess that's part of the microtransaction packs.
Yeah, it's part of the microtransaction stuff, but it's like you'll buy one set of emotes so you can change how your character sits. Instead of sitting on in like Indian style, they'll sit down like on their knees. So
Okay.
it's very weird, like some of the stuff.
I feel like Tibby is giving us the evil eye.
Probably.
Could be.
Yeah.
She's like, stop
You
talking. I'm
said
trying to
something.
sleep here.
Yes. she noticed you were talking about her.
Yeah, she did. What else we
too
got
funny.
with the news stuff?
We were already talking about clients, so Steam. We'll talk about some Steam stuff. A French court has ruled that Steam users have the right to resell their games. I'm not really 100% sure how I feel about this. Like, I can go back and forth on it.
Yeah.
We had a little
I
bit of a
think-
conversation. Go ahead.
I think it's a pretty dangerous subject to start weighing on, especially because, like, if you do it for Steam, you have to do it across digital media.
Yeah, so it has to be
Like,
iTunes,
you can't
Kindle
just
books,
you
like
need to
Audible
be able to
buys.
resell everything. And my biggest issue with this is that it's not real. It's not physical. There's no wear and tear on the product, so the value of said product never depreciates, other than time.
Yeah,
Like an
I mean,
old
it's whatever
book, it's
it
gonna
is
be
on the
a
market
cheaper.
is what you can sell it for. So, like, if Steam has the game on offer, or well, the developers have a game on offer for $49.99, is that what it resells for until
Digitally,
it
yes,
changes?
because it's in the same quality as it was when you bought it.
Yeah, there's no any sort of change in that.
Well,
Exactly.
but I think here's where you come into a problem with dealing with something that's digital like this, especially on a format like Steam. Steam has more sales than anybody else does. So now I go in and I buy a game for $4.99, but the retail version of that is normally $29.99 that they normally have if it wasn't
So
on
you
sale.
sell it at a
because
profit.
I
you
sell it at
resell
a
it.
profit, and that becomes a problem because
unless Steam has a way to basically lock that game into the
The price
bought
you
price.
purchased at.
Yeah, like you bought it for $4.99, you can only sell it for a maximum of $4.99. Like, that game is locked. You can't sell it for
Yeah,
any more
you can
because
do a price lock like that where when it's purchased, that's the price that you resell it at. So if you purchased it full price, like if you purchased it at launch and it was $60, you will never be able to sell it for more than $60. But if over time the game price drops and it's regularly on, for retail at $49 instead of $60 or $59, then you can sell it at that 49, but you can't sell it for more than 60.
They come in real handy too. Like you need to pay your light bill, and you have 550 games on your PC.
I mean, just don't spend that money on your games then. But my suggestion for something like this, especially because Steam has such an intricate system now, is that you can make it so that you can trade games of equal value. There's a $60 game, you have a $30 game, a $20 game, and a $10 game. You're like, okay, I want to trade these 3 to this guy, and then you trade them in, and then that goes to you, and now these 3 games are back on the market that somebody else can buy because it's $60 worth of games that you just gave up.
I don't know if you could do that.
I don't know.
Because that would have to be
like,
between 2 accounts. Like, you'd have to be, like, seller swap. It couldn't just be, like, I'm selling these back to Steam, because I don't think that's how it works.
Well, it won't go back to Steam. It'll go on the market. Like, it'll be like the marketplace, where you could buy games from the marketplace.
Yeah, but then what's the point? Steam is the marketplace.
True. I mean, I guess
you're
could
also
just make it so that you can only trade between people.
Well, here's the thing too. This is let's look at let's say it's an independent game that did really well on Steam. It was the only way that you could really get the game, and somebody decides that they want to sell it on the marketplace. Well, let's say 15 people decide they want to sell it on the marketplace, and there's 15 people that wanted to buy that game. Now they go to the marketplace to purchase the game, and there's 15 games that they don't get profit off of. From the actual company doesn't get profit off of it. So to me, the better option that you would set up at is you can sell this, but I would do the same percentage that they're required to, that Steam is required in order to be able to, what do they say, 70%? You get 70% of the profit, or they get 70% of the profit, whatever it is, whatever that percentage is. That's the same way when you sell it. So if you're selling it at $30, then that same percentage, certain percentage of that goes back to the developer of the game. So at least the developer's making money off of it twice, yes, but theoretically that game would have been sold anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say,
had it not been purchased on the market.
Yeah, I could understand that. That seems like it'd be better. At least the developers get a cut of it, because you're technically just you're being the seller for their product instead of Steam being the seller for their product. And
because you got to protect those developers. You've got to protect those developers.
Yeah.
And you get some of your money back, not all of it, which I also like, minus the depreciation. If it's been out for 10 years, it's going to be a lot cheaper, but they still get 30% of it, and you get 70%. So, I mean, that seems like it would be a lot better for you, especially for people with extremely large libraries, with games they've never played. They could just sell them back cheaper to other people, which is also going to be, like, really weird when you start integrating into Steam sales. Like, I mean, these games are going to be equal to Steam sales, so I mean, people are going to rather go to the marketplace than they will go to Steam.
Which again, I stated ahead of time before we started today, which is you're providing a marketplace as like Steam is basically providing that marketplace. You wouldn't be able to sell it if they didn't have the marketplace available to you, right? So therefore they're providing a service, so therefore they should get a cut of that as well. So therefore now that reduces the profit even more. And they just have to decide what that would be. Like, you could even say it's a percentage based on what the total is, or you could say it's a $5 fee. You could say whatever you wanted to in order to say every time you make one of those sales, we get a cut of that because you're using our platform in order to be able to make that resale happen.
That's fine. They have to keep up the marketplace and whatnot to make it more reasonable. And also, I would have to make it to put a year limit. Like, it has to be a year after a game comes out before you're allowed to put it back on the marketplace, so that Steam basically, I know it's weird, but Steam will hold exclusive to the games for at least a year before they can start filling the marketplace with it. So, if you want it, you have to buy it from Steam and the developers first before you can start trying to resell it or get cheaper copies and things like that. You got to give some time for the game to actually sell.
What's the refund policy? It's 2 hours, right?
Is it 2 hours or 2 days?
2 weeks I don't know.
There's a 2 involved. That's all we know.
Once
playing-wise,
you go past 2 hours.
Okay, so once you've played past 2 hours, or if it's been in your library for 2 days, maybe that's what it is. 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's if you issue a refund for any title that is requested within 14 days of the purchase and has been played for less than 2 hours.
Okay, 2 hours, 2 weeks. Gotcha.
2 hours, 2 weeks.
Don't pay attention to me.
Okay.
So that is how that works, which it is very convoluted. Steam should be able to handle this on their own because they would have to create a whole infrastructure to handle this kind of process, and it's new. We're all new into this kind of
digital media is gonna have
marketing.
That's a growing area.
Well, but now you're going to have it set up to where Xbox is going to have to do the same thing. PlayStation is going to have to do the same thing. Because right now,
digital markets as well. You digitally buy games from them, and you can't sell
Nintendo,
those either.
Every one of them, Epic is going to have to, which is going to be the interesting one because they're paying for exclusivity. Yeah. So therefore, if they haven't made that mount and they're having to do the resale part of it, that's on there. So that's going to be very interesting to see how this changes the marketplace.
Yeah.
And they don't even have they don't have anything but a cart. They don't have libraries. They don't have anything. No. So how are you going to make them if they don't have a marketplace? So how are you going to resell that?
Oof. Like, it would actually throw them through a fit because it's going to be very hard for them to develop that real quick. And especially with, like, iTunes and things like that, they're going to have to create their own marketplaces and whatnot. The digital, this part of digital media, if it becomes law, it's going to change everything for everybody that tries to sell digitally.
Well, and I think that's something a lot of people who have been screaming about this for a very long time don't really understand is, like, you're upset because you can sell your physical Xbox copy back to GameStop and GameStop will purchase it and put it on their shelves. Who exactly are you trying to sell your digital copy back to? Because Steam ain't buying it. There's not a digital shelf for them to put that back on. That all has to be person-to-person transaction, and if nobody's buying in that marketplace, not to mention how do you regulate that marketplace, like, there's a lot of stuff that the people that are upset about it have not considered. The digital landscape is very drastically different from the physical landscape because you do have a place to physically walk in, hand this copy to somebody else, and have them give you the cash for it to walk away.
It also does mean, I didn't think about this until just now, it also does mean that the terms of service could be changing for all these companies, and it'd be set up more like a free-to-play game, to where the way that works is they physically still own the game. You're just basically buying an element of that. So since they own the actual client, when you buy the game, you physically don't own the game, so therefore you can't resell the game. The same way, if you buy something for a free-to-play game, you've spent that money on it. That's part of that terms of service, and they actually own the account and are able to shut it down.
You're renting the license, which is what Blizzard does with WoW. Your $15 allows you to play their game. It's their game. They own your characters. They own everything whenever you sign on. They own your account, too.
That allows them to be able to ban you and do all that without any lawsuits happening.
Exactly. Now, if you start trying to do that stuff with, like, Fallout 4, it's going to create some seriously drastic changes because technically you will not own your products. You will not own any video games. It'll all just be licensed to you temporarily. And if they ever want, they can revoke it permanently.
You're going to push like the digital sellers, you're going to push them into that corner where that might be what you are looking at as their only chance or only course of action is to do something that sounds ridiculous to us, but it's really the only way they can protect themselves and their profits. And to be honest, I know we all like games, but this is a business and they have to make money.
I completely
I
understand
get that. It's not that I agree with it. And you could say the same thing about Epic. They're a business and they have to make money. Some things are more ethical than others, but at the same time, like, I guess at the end of the day, it's what keeps the lights on.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they have, and they're going to, they have to come up with a decision within a month or have to pay a fine of 3,000 euros per day for up to 6 months, which is going to be a lot of money.
Steam is currently appealing that ruling. So, as they said, right now, whilst it is in the appeal process, nothing will change.
All I'm saying is if they lose this appeal, they are taking everybody down with them.
Well,
I guarantee it. Steve's going to be like, them, and them.
Yep.
They all have to do the same thing that we have to do. And everyone's going to be like,
either that or actually, technically, all they have to do after that is actually just eliminate Steam from the French market, depending on how they're starting in terms of service to let it up. So they can eliminate it from the French market, and therefore it would bypass that law completely.
Yeah. Yep. Until others started to try to get on board with that, but at the same time, I think a lot of other places would be able to look at it and go, well, who else's toes are we going to step on if we do this? Because it's not just Steam that sells digital goods.
Oh no, everybody sells digital
Yeah.
goods.
So
And yeah, so if Steam disappears from here, they'll just go after somebody else. Like, hey, Epic, you're next, and they're like, oh, we ain't
but it
selling
shouldn't
games
just be
here
targeted
either.
towards games either. Like I mentioned earlier, you've got things like Amazon, who sells Kindle books that are digital books. You've got Audible that sells digital audio copies of books.
It
You've got things like
opens
up
iTunes.
the
that-
floodgates for it.
Yes, it's also Amazon. You're right. Yeah, it really
Oh, yeah.
does. And there's bigger companies out there like Apple that you probably don't want to take swipes at. So
I mean, if they passed it on this, they would try to.
Well,
take a bite
Amazon
out
and
of
Apple
everybody.
are actually Amazon's bigger than Apple is now.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't take on either one of those, to be honest. I think that, that's getting into a gray area because you want to regulate them, but you don't have rules set on how to do that regulation. It's like, well, this is going to have to be a cooperative effort between the government and the company at that point when it becomes a law. So what do you want us to do about it? What's your solution here, Mr. Judge Man?
To give you just to kind of give you all an idea on the size difference too, Valve worth about $2.4 billion, where Apple and Amazon are worth close to $1 trillion
Yeah.
each.
This
So
is
it's
a
like-
really interesting time in the law area to see how these
The
things
digital
are gonna,
age.
Yeah, the digital age is changing a lot of stuff and challenging a lot of lawmakers to really step it up and figure out how to problem solve and what actually is the problem that needs to be solved. Like, how big of a deal is it that you can't resell a digital copy of a game that you bought for $4.99, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
And where does it
Watch
end?
this. Yes,
Where does it end? So, like, if you can prove, like, if you're doing just an actual digital copy there, if you're proved that you haven't used a service that you paid for in 6 months, is it going to go to that too?
Yeah, like
I haven't
if you're
used
like,
this
I
for
forgot
6 months.
to
Can
turn
I
off
get the?
my Blizzard account, but I haven't signed on to anything on Battle.net in 6 months. Give me my money back. They're gonna be like, no,
Right.
that's not our fault that you
That's
forgot.
that's your own fault. As a consumer, it is your responsibility. Like, sometimes if you forget you put something up and then you forget to cancel the subscription, that's on you. That they're not going to check if you are making sure that you use their service. They're there to provide it, not check on you.
Yes.
It's like, whatever. You're paying for it. You do whatever the hell you want with it.
That's
But
right.
I didn't use it. I want my refund.
No, get out
Too
of my
bad.
face. I hate you.
Yeah. I mean, sucks to be you. Well, the other thing from Steam is they have we've talked about this earlier this year, as they have finally released their long-awaited library overhaul. It's in the public beta right now. As soon as it came out, I went and downloaded it right away because I really, really wanted to see
is
it
pretty
and how it
schmancy.
works. Oh man, it is so nice. This update for the library is so clean. Like, you have your main homepage, which has all of your games on the left side, and then it's got like nice big blocked pictures for all of your games, and it shows everything, and you can create shelves which have
Yeah, that's
specific
nice.
games and whatnot. Like, I made a shelf because I was just playing with it for my 5+ multiplayer games, and it's got all my games that we could play as a big group in there.
That's cool.
Yes,
Yeah.
and when you make a shelf, you could choose whether to do it manually or do it dynamically. When you do it dynamically, based on the games you put in there and the tags that it have, whenever you add a game, it'll automatically start sorting it for you and put it into your shelves for you, which is super nice because it keeps all of your shit nice and organized, which I need to go through and start organizing all my games and whatnot, which will be really nice instead of just having a giant list, which it's not too bad, but I like to clean it up. I've got a lot of unused games, a lot of different style games.
We
and
can
mix it
also
all
make
up
a
and
shelf
just kinda...
for games I haven't played yet. For some of those, that was going to be a small shelf. For Oak, that's going to be half his library.
No, more than half.
Oh,
That's going to be like 80% of his library.
Oh, man,
Oh.
savage.
oh.
See, I was mean, but Baka was savage.
But it
I'll
is-
always
Well,
say-
it depends on what you mean, because some of the games I've played before are just not on PC.
but it is super nice. It's really easy to check it out, folks. Really easy. You go to your Steam, you click the top left button, which is Steam. You go down to settings, and then at the first option, it should say beta participant. You click that, and then you click the library beta, and boom, restart Steam. Your library's up to date.
Yep.
Clean. Looks so good. I promise this is definitely an update. And this is what your 30% when you pay games goes to.
Yep.
It goes to improving the platform, which I'm surprised because we were talking about how much money Epic has tossing around to get exclusives that they
And
don't
they
use that
can't-
money to improve their
Yes.
fucking.
Well, they're too busy throwing it at developers to get people to come to their platform, and then they'll worry about the people that are on that platform later. That shows you where you are as the consumer in their priority list. They don't care about you.
Yeah,
They already got your money.
Exactly.
So
So
keep that in mind.
yeah, I think it's really, really, really clean. Check it out. Make your own lists and whatnot. It's really cool. I highly recommend it.
You want to talk about the last bit of news before we get out of here?
Oh hell
Sure.
yeah! I love this.
I mean, I
Okay.
don't because I don't
Well,
like
yeah.
what it springs from.
No, but I love that
it
somebody
shows
is
that-
getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
But
so
stop this crap.
I hope so. I hope things like this will make them scared. So, second Call of Duty, his player has been sentenced to prison following a fatal swatting incident. He is 19 years old, and he got 15 months in jail. So, and he cannot play video games for 2 years after he gets out.
Which is just the strangest part of that. You're gonna go to jail and you can't play video games.
Well, I mean,
For 2
I
years.
guess
You're
that's
grounded.
just one of those insult to injury kind of things.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
So I kind of get it because this. I mean, to be fair, somebody lost their life over a $1.50 bet because you people are so fucking stupid that you couldn't get your heads out of your own asses. And this is what you get. Like, you acted like children, so we have to treat you like children. One, we're going to send you to jail, which is an adult thing to do. Two, we're going to say you can't play video games. Because we need to treat you like a fucking child, because apparently you fucking are.
This is that one where they went to the wrong house and killed the wrong guy.
Yes, because the guy
Shot the wrong guy.
in the argument had given an old address to the person he was in the argument with, and then that person tried to get somebody else to SWAT him. So they sent them to the old address that he no longer lived at, and somebody died because of it.
Yep, and this guy gets 15 months and
Which is
in
light
jail.
IMO.
Yep.
yes.
I mean, that's
Yes, it is.
a year and 3 months. Because
he
you
got-
were stupid enough over $1.50 to get someone killed.
Yes. Well, it's going to be on his record forever. Like, he's going to be a felon now.
Yeah.
Which is going to make
Screw
his
you,
life
buddy.
a whole lot harder. He
Enjoy that
was
never getting a
originally
job.
sentenced to 20 years in prison, which, I mean, is really fucking long. I think I don't know what he got charged with, but if I had to guess, it was probably criminal negligence or manslaughter, something like that, and he got 15 months. And prohibited from playing video games. Jesus. Yeah, and I do agree it is a little light. He
Yeah.
needs to be, I'd say at
mean,
least 2 years.
You being an idiot resulted in somebody dying. And I know that you didn't pull the trigger yourself, but what you did caused that.
Yeah,
I
he
also think that
made
it's kind
that
of bullshit
situation.
that the cop that actually shot the guy didn't get charged either. Like, that guy should have gotten charged.
Oh yeah, that guy should have gotten charged, and the guy who made the situation happen should have gotten charged.
Yep.
But what about the guy who actually got called?
I don't know. There's like a gray area with that guy. I guess
Yeah,
because he was a
the other two got
party?
charged, and the guy who was 25 at the time, like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't say, and he may be still in ongoing litigation because this stuff does take time. So it may be that he has had charges brought up, he just hasn't been tried yet. But I don't know because they don't mention him.
because I mean, if he was the one who made the call, he made
The
fake
situation.
phone call to
Yes.
yeah.
So, and I think he did so for money. So that's like double bad.
Yeah, it was like $1.50 bet, and the dude got paid $25 to do the other, right? And then-
Maybe.
I think it was like
it doesn't make
over
any
$1.50
sense.
bet.
Y'all are stupid. Y'all are all stupid. That's just how.
Oh
it
no,
is.
he was 25. The guy was 25 who actually made the call. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Okay, so the Viner and Gaskill are the ones that got into the argument, 18 and 20, and then Viner sent the other guy, the 25-year-old, the address and told him to place the call. So fuck yeah, that guy should get charged just
Yes.
as well as the
that's
guy
what I'm
who
saying is
told
he
him
may,
to do it.
He may be in litigation, and his may be
hell
it may
yeah.
be taking longer because they are actually trying him for more because you're not supposed to use services for fake calls, and that's going to factor into it as well.
Technically,
Right.
I think you should go for the brain, the one who wanted to do it. This guy was just a monkey, and he deserves to be charged too.
But you can't say that because it's like ignorance isn't a reason. Like,
No,
Ignorance is
if
not
you
an
knew,
excuse.
you were still part of it. I mean, like you had
yeah,
the choice
so like
to
you
not
can't.
do that.
It's not. Yeah, you can't do that. So in this case, yes, he's the brain. He's the one that's saying that, but he can't. He also, the guy that actually did it, has to be tried for something too. That's the reason that during World War II and stuff, war crimes were being charged for the the Axis side of the Axis side of it. They couldn't say we didn't know, we were just following orders.
Yeah,
you can't do that.
So it's complicit. You're complicit in the action.
Right.
So, but this is an update to an ongoing thing. So it may be that there's another update on the way at some point with this other guy. We'll find out over time. Please stop being stupid.
That's all we ask.
Yes.
Don't be dumb.
Don't
be dumb.
We should have put that somewhere in the middle so we could have ended on a high note. Oh well, that's okay. Because after this, I'm gonna go and figure out how to cook spaghetti squash, and then I'm gonna play Dragon Age until it's time to play World of Warcraft again.
Ooh, which technique are you using for this?
I don't know. I've never made it before, and this says I put it in the oven for like 40 minutes. So
yeah, it's fantastic.
We're gonna try it.
Do too.
I'm excited.
I tried it.
I'm trying to figure out what I want to eat.
Spaghetti squash.
Food.
No.
Hey, it might be great. We'll
Spaghetti.
tell you when we're done with it. All right. Well, then let's
I
get
love
out of
spaghetti
here so I
squash.
can go figure out how to cook this.
That'll work. We do appreciate everybody that hangs out with us each and every week at Infinite Respawn. As always, you can check us out on Twitter at InfiniteResPC. You can check me out personally at MWOtree. Check out Grif.
At Grif Slanum.
Check out Chicken.
I'll eat chicken through and three.
Check out Baka.
Baka Pickle.
Also, make sure you go to Grif's YouTube channel where she's currently playing through Red Dead Redemption 2, of course. She's on episode 1 million, I think, at this point.
No, we're in the 50s. I did mention, though, in the video, one of the
Only a
videos I
quarter of the way
recorded
through.
today. No, I'm at 56%. And I did mention in the video, one of the videos I recorded today, that this is by far going to be my longest Let's Play, but it's also the biggest game that I've Let's Played, really. Dragon Age was a while back, and that one was also lengthy, but I cut out a bunch of stuff, and then this one I don't feel like cutting out as much. So,
Fair enough.
come watch
Still
it
sounds
with
fun.
me.
Come watch her. Go. Also, make sure you go to twitch.tv/EliteChicken313, where he will be playing WoW, most likely. Yeah, I don't even have to ask anymore. Help them with their pony hunt. Hang out in their chat. Also, make sure you go to mixer.com/MWOtree, where Monday nights we are now playing Minecraft. It's Minecraft Monday.
Someone's got a problem. You got a little stuff right over there.
Well, it's like a square block right here.
It's not a problem, man. You got a problem. I don't have a problem. You got Wowcraft.
Hey, I ain't got shit. I don't know what you're talking about.
Much easier to snort RPG than it is to snort Minecraft blocks.
They really get stuck up there like Legos. Oh gosh,
that was perfect. Yes. That was awesome. Then I'll be playing through Creedfall the rest of the week, and then of course on Friday night we'll be playing Sea of Thieves. So come hang out for that. You should have Chicken on one side of the screen and me on the other side of the screen, because we're usually on about the same time.
You get to see all the two huge worlds at the same time.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Works out perfect.
One's a little rounder than the other, but it's all good.
They'll get to see my head. It counters.
It got worse. Let's get out of here. Oh my god, you guys.
You need to get a box for your head so that you can just kind of set it on when you play Minecraft one day. You're just like, yes.
Get
a
replica
skin colored, or should be like
No.
that grass colored that they
Get a replica of the armor, the helmet.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
God.
Just
You can just make
set
one
it
out of a
down.
cardboard box. Perfect.
You can make it fit over your headphones too, so you can just kind of like set it right. There we go. There we go.
Perfect. Oh my lord. I think that was everything. For
Yes.
Infinite Respawn, I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Chicken.
Baka.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Please hang up and try again.